A quick note to the listeners. This episode was recorded using a number of different VoIP services. I didn't process any of the audio, so you could get a sense of the differences between each platform. We start off in Zoom.
In a world that gives the devil the benefit of the law, one man records himself talking in the basement in the City of Angels. Do you see what I did there?
It's pretty clever.
With a spouse and their only son. And also, did I mention they have a dog?
Is that with 7 or 8 O's? I need to write this down.
Actually, critics are calling the show interesting, unusual, and occasionally amusing.
Mediocre.
It's slightly below average.
Wait. Certainly not, sir.
I don't listen to many podcasts, but when I do, it's laying down the law. Laying Down the Law with Billy DeClercq, Esquire, your host, that's me, can be found everywhere you get podcasts, on Twitter, at Max Headroom Esquire, a reference you only understand if you were born before 1982, or you love retro artificial intelligence, but I digress. Welcome to the only law and comedy podcast on the internet that may someday use actual monkeys to reenact the Scopes Monkey trial. Today is our very first crossover episode, the greatest crossover episode since Love Boat Angels of 1979. You can Google that. Love Boat Angels.
Was that a thing?
That was a thing. You can Google it.
I don't want to. I just want you to tell me that was a thing.
That was a thing. I
like
Googled.
Charlie's Angels went to the Love Boat?
I don't know. I Googled great sitcom crossover episodes because I wanted to make an analogy.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Simon and Simon went to Hawaii and worked with Magnum. So
that would be a crossover episode.
I need you to consider the fact that Tom Selleck's mustache and Gerald McCraney's mustache were on the same show on the same screen at the same time.
I don't know if they have room for that much facial hair. Yeah. And the screens were not as big then.
No, they weren't.
That's a lot. Well, today is laying down the trees, laying down on top of trees, laying down for trees.
Chopping down the trees for the law.
Trees for law. You'll see the connection is this. The law is printed on books. Books are made out of paper. Paper's made out of trees.
Right.
Trees are made out of forests. For the trees.
Yes, you sometimes can't see the forest for the trees, and sometimes you need to pull back and focus on those fucking trees, and that's why it's called For the Trees.
That's right.
I don't remember anymore.
That's
right.
Doesn't
matter. All 12 of you know what to listen to. It's the last thing on your playlist when you've listened to everything else every week. You finally put play on this, and then you go, "Oh God, not again."
Not that guy. Well, if you're a Laying Down the Law subscriber, all 6 of you, estimated, more or less. Hello, Russian Federation.
That's right.
Good to see you, Vlad. Our guest today is the Navy vet you won't forget, the guy who made sure I didn't quit after 3 or 4 or 5 episodes, the producer, podcaster extraordinaire, the man who knows his way around a road, Skipper Jeffrey. Why did you mess up your audio track so bad this time, and when will you learn how to run a basic audio input, Mr. Lawyer Man Feightner?
I've never said that out loud. Billy. I may or may not have actually said those words screaming at my computer, though.
Hey Jeff, do you remember the time when I was like, hey, listen to this, and I sent you a completely blank audio track? And then there was another one right after that. I was like, this one's good too, and that was also completely blank. I believe that was my audition for Coyote's Bluff.
It was indeed your audition, and
that performance was a great performance. I was like, oh man, I really nailed it. Didn't listen and sent it off.
And there's a note, if you're a podcaster listening to this show, which I mean, probably, right?
Yeah. No, by the time, pretty soon, everyone actually is going to have a podcast.
I think that's how that has to happen. But if you're a podcaster listening to this show for some reason, 2 things, two small points. A, push record.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, do listen to your tracks before you send them off into the world. Actually,
That's good.
give it an ear.
That's a good idea.
Just throwing it down. Pick it up if you want to. Hey, listen, so before we get into the deep, deep dives of all this nonsense, I do want to explain also, podcasters, if you're tuning in, whichever way you come to this, from the laying down the law stream or from the little trickle that is for the trees, we're doing something that's like a beta test of all the audio, video, VoIP kind of things that I could find in the last like 15 minutes or so. We're starting on Zoom, and we're going to go through Riverside FM, Iris FM, Cisco WebEx, Zencaster, and their new video beta. And then we'll probably come back to Zoom because it's the only one that offers that much time for free. Okay, cool. So there you go. If you want,
because we haven't found enough ways for me to actually screw up my audio.
that's right. We're going to try to fuck it up every way.
We have like I still have that episode where I have to re-record my entire vocals. Everything's done except the part where I re-record the host, where the host, re-record my part in its entirety,
right?
Because I was speaking into the wrong microphone the whole time,
including all of the improv, not just the improv comedy portion, but all of the
interviewing,
the
commentary, the credits,
all of it.
At no point, including the point in time in which my guests were like, "Hey, you sound really weird. Oh, we'll fix it in post."
Yeah, Ruha says, "Hey, Billy, just in case it matters, I hear a lot of echo."
This is an audio medium. I'm just wondering, do you want people to be able to hear you?
Fuck no.
No, that's not the idea.
It's ridiculous.
Why would you do that?
So for real, Billy, how are you and yours living in this COVID time since we've last spoken? How are you dealing?
Well, I'm dealing okay. I mean, every day is 100 years long. And I think one thing I would comment is that I am kind of living, like, I think we're all living a version of Big Brother or Survivor or whatever it is, those shows where people, or like, a horror movie where people are like forced to be in like a really cramped space, like an Agatha Christie kind of thing. And like,
Dude says, I think we're living in Big Brother or Survivor or a horror movie.
Like one of those. But the whole thing is like, I've been forced to really face some of my own like annoyances because there's no place to run. And so I feel like I'm growing as a person.
Yeah. Have you talked with your therapist about that? I'm just kidding. Don't answer that.
Daily, all the time, hourly. Unfortunately, my therapist doesn't answer. I don't know.
Billy, does your therapist reside in your noggin?
Yes, absolutely.
We live in the mirror.
Yes. But I'm doing pretty good. And actually the podcasting and the the comedy group is sort of been the Monday night comedy group I do is sort of a lifeline because at least we can try to laugh. Although there have been a few times back in June of last year, we I actually dropped out of the Second City Conservatory because I was like, like right now, nothing's funny. And I'm like a middle-aged professional white male, Christian. I don't know what I can, joke about right now. I think I need to just shut up and listen. But that didn't last very long, fortunately. And I got back to, basically trying to dominate every conversation as I'm, have been trained by society to do.
Well, it's your right and privilege, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
It's like, no,
no, I don't think that's right at all.
Oh,
I think that's a major problem in today's society that we're supposed to be addressing somehow. And
yeah.
And for every step forward, we go back a fucking flight to Cancun. But
yeah, that's really true. Oh my God.
Hey, look, Ted Cruz is in a special list on that part of my never mind. We're not going to say that
yeah, I mean, I don't know what you can say about Ted Cruz that Twitter hasn't already said.
You can say a lot actually, because he isn't shitbag.
Yeah.
I have a question real quick.
Okay.
It was do you watch HBO television at all?
Yes.
Have you watched this Undoing thing with Hugh
Yes.
Grant? And oh my God.
Yeah.
So when it's hearsay normally, but it's contrary. What the hell was that called? It was the coolest argument. And I just
An
wanted,
admission against interest.
yeah, that against
Uh,
interest. It's
I forgot what happened. We watched another David E. Kelly series.
declaration against interest.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's cool. Cause like I'd never heard it. And
Yeah.
I only have I have a passing interest in law only because I love the language, believe it or not. So like I appreciate it because it's one of the few places where it fakes being logical and concise really well, but you can also legalese the shit out of something and make it completely nonsensical, but still sound brilliant. At least that's how I read the law. So
yeah, well, I mean, it's the law is a strange thing. I mean, it's this idea that, you know, we put down words and then all of a sudden that's supposed to affect what people do.
right.
And it like has consequences. And at the end of the day, like, it's just words on a piece of paper.
Right.
And so there's like this, you know, it's like this, you have to have this collective understanding and agreement that that's what you're following. By the way, your question was about evidence, and I will point out it was one of my lower grades in law school in evidence. So, you know, litigator, trial lawyer.
You're a trial lawyer?
Well, no, I don't try cases. I just win them. I've never said that before. It just came out of my mouth. Steal a line from Hamilton. I don't need to practice law. I perfected it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you are a middle-aged white guy who knows Hamilton. That means I'm not alone.
Yeah, no. So I got this idea, Jeff. I've been tossing around in my improv group. Let me try it out on you.
Okay.
So I don't know if you follow this news story, but back in 2016, there was this movement to put someone more diverse on money. And so there's sort of have you heard about this? And Harriet Tubman was chosen, and she was originally slated to be on the $10 bill. But due to the popularity of the musical Hamilton, she got moved to the 20. And so Andrew Jackson is getting screwed by Hamilton and replaced. And I just think that what I would like to see, the sketch I'm trying to write is Andrew Jackson pitching a musical of his own life because he's trying to save his place on money. That's the sketch I want to write.
That's a little problematic.
How does a racist?
Yeah.
How does a racist
card-carrying member of the Klan come to be a president? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure Andrew Jackson was sworn into the Klan on the White House Bible.
Yeah. Seriously. And
I'm almost certain of that fact.
Because
I did a book report on the Klan in the 6th grade because I was forced to. Yeah.
What school did you go to?
Nathaniel Bedford Forest. No, I'm kidding. I know entirely too much about shit that I really don't want to, but welcome to the Scopes. I love voting.
Yeah, did you get that joke? Didn't land actually. I was watching your reaction to kind of
the Scopes monkey trial.
Use actual monkeys to reenact the Scopes monkey trial.
I don't know what the Scopes monkey trial is.
Oh, have you not seen Inherit the Wind? No, not a fan of the lawyer films. The Scopes monkey trial.
I am a fan of lawyer films. The Devil's Advocate was cinematic masterpiece. Okay, there was nothing more true and honest about the law than The Devil's Advocate with Keanu Reeves and
that was a classic.
Al Pacino and I think that was one of.
Yeah, actually, they don't get consumed by fire at the end.
Yes.
Yeah,
and it all disappears.
I think didn't they do that? I think Al Pacino did that money because his Scarface money ran out, right?
I don't know.
That was clearly done for the money.
I'm fairly certain that was one of Charlize Theron's first movies here or something. I just know it was the first place where she caught my attention and caught a lot of my attention. And good Lord. Anyway, and then it all happened in his head. And you want to know why that really stuck, that movie in particular? Because Keanu Reeves' character is from Florida. Middle Florida, which is a very special kind of evil place. So it kind of stands out to me. I think he's like Ocala or something. And yes, I said that Central Florida, specifically the Central Ridge area, is a special kind of evil, mostly because of people that I have known there. It's firsthand, anecdotal. I will just testify to this. How about that? How about that? What are you going to do? I offend my Florida listener? Oops.
I was going to teach you something.
Oh,
the Scopes Monkey Trial.
Yeah, the Scopes Monkey Trial.
Okay, so Scopes Monkey Trial was, if I remember correctly, a teacher was put on trial for teaching evolution in the schools. And then they made a movie about it. The movie's called Inherit the Wind. And then we had to read the play version of it. I think the year that you were writing your report on the Ku Klux Klan, I was reading Inherit the Wind. And so it's a play about freedom of speech and freedom of expression and about like sciencey fact.
Sciencey fact?
Yeah.
Not alternative facts?
Yeah. And the whole, creationism. And I believe the famous lawyer Clarence Darrow. Oh, I think we're gonna have to Wikipedia right now. Scopes Monkey Trial. I should have looked this up because before I put it in the outline.
Yeah, there's this rule I've always heard. It's always referenced in like lawyer movies, right? Where they say don't ask a question you don't already know the answer to.
Yeah, that's true.
You'd think that a lawyer would have learned that.
Yeah. Well, let me read to you from Wikipedia. I think I wasn't too far off. The Scopes trial, known as the State of Tennessee versus John Thomas Scopes, commonly referred to as the Scopes Monkey Trial, was an American legal case July 1925, in which a high school teacher, John T. Scopes, was accused of violating Tennessee's Butler Act, which had made it unlawful to teach human evolution in any state-funded school. And the trial was deliberately staged in order to attract publicity to the small town of Dayton, Tennessee, where it was held. Scopes was unsure whether he'd ever actually taught evolution, but he incriminated himself deliberately so the case could have a defendant. It was a show trial. Williams, Jennings Bryan, and Clarence Darrow argued the case. Clarence Darrow for Scopes, William Jennings Bryan, 3-time presidential candidate and former Secretary of State.
In a forthcoming episode of Laying Down the Law, there's a question about the name of law cases.
The name of law cases, yes.
And the question was something about, is that the first name or the last name?
I know. I have a very specific recollection of the episode you're talking about.
I'm sure you do. Because
yes, very specific.
It's also,
it will, Curtis, I promise it will come out. I promise, guys.
Yeah, that's right.
I promise.
I actually, Curtis, I will actually Curtis on Twitter.
Yeah, today. Actually, Curtis. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I saw that.
I've been waiting so long for him to say something that I can respond to in that construct.
Yeah.
Like, actually, Curtis. He doesn't say a lot, or at least I don't catch a lot. And it's, I just tickled me to no end.
Well, I listened to your interview with Curtis, since you mentioned my name in it so many times, and that was very kind, and didn't say anything that was embarrassing, which was surprising.
Oh, I said all kinds of embarrassing things.
Oh, you
cut it all out.
Perfect.
That's the beauty of editing, man.
Oh man, that's hilarious. But I was like, oh man, I wanted to jump in the conversation. I was like, oh yeah. Curtis said the improv started in the 50s in Chicago.
Right.
And I wanted to actually Curtis him on that because because I'm a theater history. My major was theater, and I think improv is the oldest form of theater.
I'm sorry. Hold on. You're a lawyer.
Yes.
Your major was theater.
Well, let me be more specific. It was theater arts and communications with applied philosophy of theater arts and communications. That's the full name of my major. I was a freaking smart ass. But yeah. I made a movie based on Sartre's No Exit. That was my senior thesis.
This segment was recorded in Wait a minute, that didn't work actually. This is recorded in Riverside FM.
Iris has a countdown too. Iris has a countdown too, but it records during the countdown, which is kind of
I wonder
funny.
if this was recording during the countdown. That is so weird.
Hey, I wanted to ask you a question, Jeff.
Oh, yeah?
So have you listened to the audiobook I got you?
You know what? I don't know how to make it work yet.
Oh, Audible?
So
wait.
So no.
Audible?
Yeah.
Oh, I should have sent it to you in podcast form.
It's okay. I had to do something on the computer or something, and then a week goes by, and now I have to admit that I haven't even remembered to try to make it work.
That's okay. So I wanted, because I've been reading, I read improv books for fun.
As you do.
Yeah, I do.
What are you going to do? Read law for fun?
No. And I thought it would be interesting to find out what you know about improv based on listening to and editing. Was it 10 or 11 episodes?
No idea. I have no idea how many. I feel like there's more than that.
Some of them should probably count as 3.
No, that's episodes. I'm going to look because, let's see, 9. We released 9. I've listened to 2 others, so. So you're going to quiz me on what I think I know about improv.
Well, I just want to know, what's your impression about improv generally?
It's entirely skewed by whose line is it anyway?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only thing that I really understand, and I understand now that is a whole subgenre, like short form or game.
Yeah,
somebody else talked about it specifically. I guess it was Curtis. It would have had to be Curtis, unless it was something Will Hines was talking about. But like game format, like everybody knows the game. And that was Curtis.
Well, there's two meanings. The funny thing about improv, Curtis mentioned this to you, is that people have different phrases or words for the same concept.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's just a couple key concepts really to the modern improvisational performance. But so Whose Line is a great example of short form improv, where it's a game in the sense that, like Party Quirks. Party Quirks. It's like everybody knows it's a game because you come on and you're doing a funny thing. It's like, oh, you think you're Sylvester Stallone, and then they leave the party, and it's like, oh, it's funny. And long form it's called long form, but like Second City does that kind of improv, but it's in a short form. They're short scenes, because it's organic improv is what I would call it. In the sense that it's based on suggestion and based on like whatever's floating around in your head.
Right.
And so I'm reading one of Will's books right now, one of Will Hines' books, which we mentioned. I don't think it made it into the final episode because I mispronounced the other author's name. Billy Merritt, not Billy Merrick. Garland, Billy Merritt, 2 T's. But but I've been reading it, and I've just been thinking of you as I'm reading it, and like I should really like teach Jeff like a basic improv, like the first two things about improv. Yeah, who, what, where. It's the who, what, where, or it's the base reality of the scene, and then the second thing is the game of the scene. And so the who, what, where, sometimes it's just like when we did my first episode and I was like, hey God.
Yeah.
And you're like, yes. That was so that was a like a perfect who, what, where base reality, because we established that we're like, I'm some kind of an angel, you're God, we're in heaven, and we're going to have a conversation about something. So like you immediately, and we had the yes and part of it is I said, hey God, and you said yes. So that's the yes and, but that's also what Will Hines refers to sometimes as accept all offers as being the base thing you do in improv. That I made an offer to you. I said, I'm going to make you God. And you're like, okay, I'm God.
Right.
And then the second thing is the game and heightening. And so the game of the scene is whatever the unusual thing is. And you focus on that unusual thing and you keep coming back to it. And Curtis, if you listen to Curtis's episode, Curtis is extremely good at finding the game, identifying what's the unusual thing that's going on here. And he will name it. He'll say, oh, we're all characters, and we all think that we're the other person, and he'll just say it and just like identify it. So anyway, I just was thinking that you had on the show outline, we'll talk about improv. So now, and then we came on to this particular Riverside FM, and we were like, oh, I hope we don't have an episode that's just completely unusable crap. Now I just gave you 4 minutes of something that you could edit together that sounds cohesive and coherent.
Well, that would be a little weird to actually have a functional, useful piece of information come out of my show.
Oh, wait, hold on. Is my mic on? In this moment, I have found that I am in utter lonely silence. My friend Jeffrey has left the room. He's left me alone to see on the animals, and this is okay. Sometimes your friend leaves the room. He goes to speak with the animals, and he doesn't come back. And then you're alone, so utterly alone. Your life loses its meaning, its spark. You become empty inside, and then you begin to break things. And this is when we say, Freude schöne got the fucking Dr. Elysium. A quick aside, you need to search for the podcast Adam Sandler Sings Hamilton.
No.
Spencer played it for you. You have to hear it. You have to hear it.
No. I don't do, because I don't really like Adam Sandler anymore, and I will not have Hamilton ruined.
It's not Hamilton. It's not Adam Sandler. It's an impersonator. It's give yourself a treat.
Okay, I might.
How does a poor boy?
Oh God! Now, see, that's Sandler from the era that like I appreciated.
Pre-Bobby Boucher. Billy Madison.
Bobby Boucher. Waterboy. There are characters in Waterboy that I know. Like, I know these people. The coach, the Cajun coach that nobody understood ever. There's a guy. When I was at the air station in Jacksonville, there's a guy. We were talking about, for some reason, there was like this uptick in like snake attacks. They don't attack. Snake
sightings,
interactions.
Yeah.
Snake bites and deaths amongst the military in Northeast Florida. So they had this guy come on talking about talking about like how to be safe when you're out and whatever. If you encounter a water moccasin or a rattlesnake or whatever, or an alligator, because that's a real, not only possible but probable interaction that you might have if you grow up or live anywhere in the fucking state. I had issues with this because we were forced to attend this seminar thing, this called a safety stand down, but we're forced to attend. And this guy walks up and he says, and I forget his name, and I'm going to call him Henry, I suppose. He says, good afternoon now. My name is Henry. I wrote a book about snake, wrote a book about gator. You read this book about snake and gator, you learn how to live. Book 1999, you can buy it right down here. Henry was a Florida cracker. Florida crackers are kind of a very specific kind of person. It's like a Cajun, but Florida. Very regional area, very specific place where you might find a true native Florida cracker. And this dude was mostly certainly one, but they talk very much similar to Cajuns, except they don't have the French so much. It's really fucking weird. Anyway, this cat looked and spoke and acted just like that coach in fucking Waterboy. And I could understand him. The people on either side of me, like 2 or 3 seats on either side, and in front of me, all of my friends, truly could not understand what he was saying. After my name is Henry and I wrote a book. After that sentence, when he started talking, like, because he went into detail about if you come upon a snake, you got to know if it's a water moccasin or if it's a rattlesnake, see, because it would, and you got to know, and that way you can run or you can hide. And it was. Now, if you see a gator, if you see one gator, you see 2 gator, right? Now, if there are 2 gator, they're probably 5. That's just how they dude, oh my God. And they're like, what did he say? I'm like, I'll tell you later, man. And he would end every paragraph with, if you want to know more, you buy my book.
Okay.
If you want to know more, you buy my book.
You understand that you've just created a character for a great sketch, right?
Oh yeah,
that's a character. That's a character for a sketch right there.
That's my guy. That's my only. That's one of my guys. That's the only one. Only some of the ones I can do. You know.
Well, you can definitely do that one.
Yeah, I can do that guy.
What's his name?
Probably not Henry. It's Henry right now, but that's not a good enough name. See, I would probably call him Boudreaux Thibodeau. I would probably roll it as
Thibodeau. I think.
Yeah, you know Pierre and Boudreaux, right? There's a whole line of stories about Pierre and Boudreaux.
Well, tell me more about the Boudreaux family.
Oh, good Lord. Pierre and Thibodeau Boudreaux. They grew up on the swamp there. Now, Pierre and Thibodeau, they go fishing one day, right? They go out there, they be fishing, and they hit a good hole, son. They hit this hole, they pulling in fish after fish after fish. Pierre turned over to Thibodeau and said, hey, boy, we need to mark the spot there so we can come back tomorrow. Thibodeau said, that's a good idea. So it gets to be dark, around dark, you know, sun's going down, whatever. So Thibodeau says, all right, we're going to go now. They go back onto the dock. Pierre says, hey, boy, did you mark that spot? Thibodeau says, yeah, son, I scratched the X right there on the boat. You can see it. The first time I heard all right, Pierre Thibodeau, they ran out of money, see, so they needed some work. So they were standing on the side of the road, said, we'll work for some money. Mr. Johnson, he's the banker in town. He comes up and he says, y'all need some work? They say, yeah, we need some money for some beer. He said, all right, hop in the truck. So they crawl in the back of his truck. He takes them over to the house. He says, here, in my garage there, you're going to find 4 gallons of paint. You go around back of my house, paint my porch, I'll give you $100. Pierre says, all right. So they paint and they having lunch. And they're like, I don't understand why we have 4 gallons of paint for. So Mr. Johnson comes back, see, and he says, y'all get finished? He said, yes, sir. But I ain't too sure about why you have 4 gallons of paint. It only took 2 and we painted that car twice, but you know, it ain't a Porsche, it's a Mercedes.
There are 3 people that get attributed quotes all the time. Actually, like 3 or 4 people. Mark Twain,
Yep.
Gets attributed stuff
Jefferson.
all the time. Thomas Jefferson, yeah. Abraham Lincoln.
And Churchill.
Winston Churchill. Confucius. Confucius gets a lot of attribution credit.
I haven't heard that in a long. I mean, that used to be such a thing.
Yeah.
Confucius says.
No, if you go on Goodreads and you're like Confucius quotes, there are gonna be all kinds of stuff show up.
Yeah.
Brainy quote, A to Z quote, like all this stuff, and then it gets made into a little meme, and then it becomes true, but it's not true.
And that's why I did the whole Thomas Jefferson quote about podcasts.
What did Thomas Jefferson say about podcasts?
The very best podcasts on the planet are part of the No Phony Podcast Network. Thomas Jefferson.
I'm sure he did say that.
Yeah, I'm a positive he did, because I saw a meme about it and it had his picture even. There was a study done about quotes, right? And the veracity, this veracity of a claim about a quote was doubled. Like the acceptance of the quote as fact was doubled or more if there was a photo attached, like a image of the person quoted. It would just double down on it, like literally. Like if 30% of people believed it just text, then 60% would believe it if there was a photo accompanying it.
This segment was recorded in Zencastr Video Beta.
Can I just make a comment about something you said a minute ago while we were in the other window?
I mean, no. Sorry.
No? Okay.
Yes.
So, you mentioned about, I wish I'd done drama. And one of the things that I am amazed by is these kids these days. My son played a podcast for me, and these two jackass 20-year-olds are just sitting there, and literally they're making fart noises. Like they're like, this podcast is brought to you by this podcast. Like, and they were laughing like the whole time. And I was like, man, like I made a film for my senior project in college, and I spent hours and hours and hours with the 2 tape decks, and I'd run them up to make the master record to the the raw footage record to the master all night and I had to keep the air conditioning on so that they wouldn't stick, because they were not great machines, because Whittier College is not a AV oriented college. I didn't go to UCLA. And these kids are like, oh, let me get my camera. I'm going to shoot like a video on TikTok, and I'm going to put like 4 edits in it. Then, put it up on the internet, have a worldwide distribution immediately. It's like there is no barriers anymore to a worldwide audience, to production. I mean, we spent like probably between the two of us, definitely more than we should have on doodads and gadgets and fun stuff. But if it was 25, 30 years ago, it would have been like auto parts, I guess. Would be
that's just the thing. Like,
but now we're doing this thing, right? And like our kids are like potentially gonna listen to it for a minute or two eventually. At a family party, if we pay them.
Oh, I don't have family parties.
Oh, okay. But but it'll be out there, and other people who we would never ever find. So years ago, my wife's sister's husband's father
saw Ferris pass out at the 31 Flavors.
No, was talking about he likes to dress up in 1940s clothes and listen to jazz albums.
Such a good era.
Yeah, and he loves these old jazz wax albums. He's like a lawyer and interesting guy, and he was going on and on about how amazing the internet was, because he could find other people that were all over the world that were interested in the same like weird fucking niche that he's interested in, dressing up like a 1940s sailor and listening to whatever.
I don't think 1940s sailor, Billy.
Well, he was specifically, he works at the Rosie the Riveter. he's a volunteer docent at the Rosie the Riveter National Monument, which is Navy property. It's a Navy shipyard in Richmond, California. So he likes to dress up as a
Richmond's in Virginia, Billy.
There are 2 Richmonds, Jeff. 2, at least.
I'm going to have to call bullshit. 15-yard penalty.
You're right.
Free kick from
froze.
second base. Anyway.
Uh-oh.
Oh, good. You went offline.
He called
That's
bullshit and he
fucking brilliant.
Left. Wait, you left for a minute there.
No, you left.
No, you left.
No, you left.
No, you left.
No.
Zencaster, you suck. Hey,
Yeah.
remember the time, Jeff? Hey, remember the first time that you recorded with me and I fucking bounced from the Zencaster really fast? And you're like, oh my God, that was the best guest I've ever had on Round and Round ever, and he's gone. And then you emailed me. I'm like, I got the track. Remember that? Cut to.
I don't think
You don't think he didn't say that first part, but
I think I said you were the best guest ever.
Oh.
No, definitely not.
But I have that Thomas said, once we release that one episode that you and I are, we're talking about there, once we release that episode, that Thomas Edison quote, which is real, I did check on Quote Investigator. I have screwed up audio like every imaginable way so far.
That Thomas Edison quote?
Yeah, I've found 10,000 ways that don't work.
Yeah.
So I've tried being in the wrong window, muting my microphone. I spent an hour the other day trying to record something into Audition, and I couldn't do it because I had pressed the button on my computer that mutes your microphone. I was like, I keep talking and there's no audio. What the hell's going on here? And and I'm like, what the hell? I have recorded into the wrong microphone. I have
more than once.
I had more than once. Let's see, what else have I done? Pretty much every. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody does it though. We're human. We're allowed to make mistakes. It's okay that I started recording and had been recording for 15 minutes with my inbound audio. So what would be your audio? Was not directed into Audition properly. So I was recording my mic 1 line and my mic 3 line instead of mic and USB audio. So for 15 minutes, Shannon and I were talking, we're all like having a good conversation and having some fun doing the whole intro bit and all this bullshit. And I look over and it's flatline on her track. And I'm like,
that's
fuck.
Now, did you tell her we'll just fix it in post? Because that doesn't work too well. By the way.
I didn't. I said to her, I'm sorry, we should not do this, and I'm going to go perhaps I'm going to write myself a stern letter. No, we had to restart. And then of course, the second time you have a conversation, it doesn't come off naturally. You try to hit the same marks and the same beat, and it just doesn't work. And everything's all it's stilted and weird. It's like discourse interruptus, right? Like,
yeah, let me bring this back around to improv. So at Second City, seriously, you learn re-improvisation. And there's a thing between the first time you improvise something and the time you write a sketch, we re-improvise. So you write down like what are the beats of what we did, and then you like play around with it and you re-improvise the same thing. Sometimes it ends up being better.
Sure. But when you don't know any of that stuff and you're just trying to hit like
you're trying to have an authentic conversation, honest.
Yeah, you can't have an authentic and honest conversation when it's already been done.
Yeah.
It's awkward, It's empty. Like,
well, it's like, visiting, the person who tells you the same story like every single time you see them. you're like, and then you tell them the next part of
Right.
their story, and they go, "Fuck, how
Right?
did you know that happened?" And then they continue the story going.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's a common thing with sailors.
Yeah.
Yeah, sea stories, right? That's how you know it's time to go, basically. Not just like from the conversation or from the night or whatever. It's time to leave a command because you've heard everybody's stories more than once. Like when you can't find anybody to talk to because you're trying to tell them the same story again, or they're trying to tell you the same story. You're like, oh fuck, we're done. Like,
Yeah.
I am now.
Well, why don't we push some merch? Why don't we push some merch? Where should people? Where are people going to get some merch? Where are they going to get the?
I don't think I can do screen. There is no screen sharing in Zencaster. Damn it. I don't know if I like Zencaster. It's already paused once. It looks really weird.
I like the little line thing. That's cool.
That is the least necessary part of this.
It doesn't really do anything, but
here's the thing. It's doing it again. This happened with me with Dan, and it's doing it now. My audio is running like this. My audio track's running like this. Yours is going like this. Here, I'm going to give you a visual demonstration of what's happening right now. My audio, your audio. Ready? It is that much faster.
That is weird.
Yeah, and I'm dying. Like I haven't opened Dan's yet. I haven't listened to that to see how it comes out. I assume it's fine because yours is actually being recorded locally. Mine's being recorded locally. Blah 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 blah. But it's like mine's running like a fucking freight train, and yours is like the little dude on a swinkle by himself. He doesn't even have a friend helping. He's just swinkle. I'm coming for you, Billy. I'll be there. I swear to goodness. Then he gets to the downhill. Oh God! Because those handles don't disconnect. Those are like not clutched. Those are hard mounted to the train, the wheels.
Yeah, it's like the bicycle with the fixed pedals.
Fixie, yeah.
Fixie, yeah.
I thought about sitting on one of those once, and my knees started hurting just from the idea of not having a free will.
Yeah, you couldn't stop. That you couldn't coast.
Well, that and like, because I've had some really bad interactions on motorcycles, and granted, the Fixie's not a motorcycle, but I just envisioned something happening with the pedals that would end up jamming my knees.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem like a really good idea for me. So pass.
Yeah.
But anyway. I just remembered something and I feel ashamed and I
spit it out.
I haven't fed the dogs.
Oh my
Nobody's
God.
Here.
You're a monster. Well, did you feed them this morning? How long has it been since you fed them? How long has it been since you fed them?
Like 12 hours.
Oh my God. You know what? I'll bet you. Can I bet you something? I bet you they might remember, and the next time you try to pet them, they might not wag their tail.
They don't wag their tail. They hate me.
Do you want to go feed the dogs?
I think I need to go feed the dogs. But also, I'm going to stop this Zencaster thing.
Okay.
I'll need a couple minutes. So we're going to meet back on Zoom.
Okay.
Because I do not like this.
This segment, we're back in Zoom, and we'll finish there.
In the most meta of all fucking moments.
Oh, yeah.
18 more
there it is.
And 45 seconds.
I was looking for the little blinking light, and I was like, oh, it must be on Jeff's side. I don't see it. You're like showing me the screen share, and I was like, man, this is really good. This is good. God. Should we say the stuff about Die Hard again?
I don't know. We have to talk through the art though, because this is going to be the most nasty what's the word I'm looking for? We're looking for the word. It's gross. It's capitalism. Groveling. Like, here, behold all of this merchandise that I'm going to soon release on the T Public.
Well, okay, so here's the thing about that. Okay, folks, listeners to For the Trees.
And laying down the law.
And laying down the law. Well, look, we all know that laying down the law is about my ego, and that it's really I will outlay unlimited amounts of money in order to continue to hear my own self speak, because I'm just that full of myself. So, listeners of For the Trees, you gotta buy Jeff's shit, because he's too shy to tell you. Like, these kids who push the podcast, my son watches them, and they are like, there's no filter. It is like, subscribe, leave a rating, ring the bell, buy my shit. Look, I'm wearing it. You should wear it too. Go to my Patreon. Like, half of the first 12 minutes of the show are an advertisement for the show. Now, Jeff, being Jeff, is focused on the content.
You say that, and it makes me feel dirty.
now that I've built you up,
something like, please go buy the shit from T Publix.
Now, okay, well, for the T Publix, not the T Privates, the T Publix. So now, this is an audio podcast, right?
Oh, this will be video too. They're going to see this stuff.
Oh, they're going to see it. Okay.
All of
it. Here's the thing. I was just thinking of the audio audience, because the first time we did this, the part where we didn't fucking record it.
Yeah.
I noticed as you were explaining it that we could have done a better job describing it. So it's a good thing. We could have done a better job.
You're right. Okay. So to that end, let's
we're professional.
The saga of Attorney Steve Gorman, and I'm going to have to get back through and edit all of these and make it Attorney Steve. But
because we lost the part. Well, so we need to explain that Attorney Steve. All right. So those of you who are laying down the law listeners, all of you, here's a little inside tip. Attorney Steve Gorman is not an attorney. He's just a guy who changed his name to Attorney Steve.
No, we can't tell him that.
Oh, no, shit. We got to cut that out?
Yeah, we got to cut that out. We can't tell them that Attorney Steve is...
Okay, so here's the thing about... No. The thing I've learned is with improv and sketch, you got to just say the thing. There's no buildup. And there's no guarantee that anybody that's listening to this podcast is ever going to listen again.
This is true. So that's fine. So yes, Attorney Steve changed his name. He's not an attorney. He's not even been to college. Hell, he may not have graduated high school. That's still a subject for debate in certain counties. Anyway, but he has these advertisements. He thinks of himself in my head now, like as I'm thinking about why would these ads exist, right? He thinks of himself as the equalizer.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what this is. You know,
he's the attorney for everybody else.
He's not an attorney
for the 99%.
Anyway, so this advertisement, listeners, it looks like a phone book ad. That's what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
And it has a really high quality clip art of a shark. Because Attorney Steve Gorman is the law shark. Law shark. And it's so like they're so disparate. Like the idea that he's a former amateur boxer, but he calls himself the law shark. Like they're so it's so jarring. Like, how do you put them together? Like the law shark, and there's that weird little like distant ringing of a familiar bell. That it's like, oh my God, I've heard that, but it's wrong somehow. Like, because law shark, every time I read it, every time I say it, I want to say land shark, and then
that's intentional too. Land shark. That was like my introduction to comedy right there. Was the old Nick at Night SNL reruns and Laughing, but the land shark, land shark. Oh no, just a plumber. Oh, okay, come on in.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not the land shark again, is it?
Yeah.
No, ma'am. Jehovah's Witness?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. So this merchandise, it's
Which you will buy.
yeah, which listeners you will go buy right now. No,
It's going to be made out of it's a high quality cotton fabric. It's very comfortable.
He doesn't own any. Don't let him fool you. No, I want to talk about
100% merino wool.
it is not merino wool. It is the finest quality cotton
Polyester.
Gildan could find on the floor.
It's a 50-50 cotton polyester blend. It's the kind of shirt you like to hang around and on Zoom calls on podcasts. I'm trying to sell this for you,
I
Jeff.
can fight or I can lay around in the jungle. Oh wait, probably another movie you haven't seen. Anyway, this ad is a.
Can I just make a comment?
Oh my god!
I feel like this is so much better than the first time we did. I feel like the energy's better. I feel like
you know what? You know what it's not doing right now is getting anything done because you keep interrupting me. So, ladies and gentlemen, this advertisement is a throwback to Yellow Pages, specifically the year the Yellow Pages got red ink. It is a lovely rectangular advertisement in it's like a 1x2.5 scale. It would have been a quarter page ad. Or alternately, it would have been, if Attorney Steve had any money, it would have been the back cover, because the back cover of every Yellow Page that I've ever, or Yellow Pages book that I've ever held in my hand was in a law firm.
Absolutely.
The outside of the back cover, it was a law firm ad, full color. And it would say something very similar to, if not exactly, "We'll fight for you." And they're all ugly old white dudes and that one token white woman in very comfortable shoes. Now, the second advertisement is really more something you would have found, like, I don't know, late 90s internet. You're trying to go to not Pornhub. You're trying to go to GeoCities, and an ad pops up, and that's kind of what this is. It's in grayscales because I liked it that way, and I completely cribbed Lawyer Cat. Oh my god! Holy fuck, Billy!
You didn't record anything about Lawyer Cat the first time, so I'm gonna have to bring everyone up to speed.
No.
Yes,
I mean, yes, but more importantly, Thundercats, but Lawyer Cat.
Oh yeah,
but
did the Thundercats, were those the ones? Wait, that's Voltron. Wait, Voltron. What's the difference between Voltron and Thundercats?
Well, let's see.
Voltron is five lions that assemble into one giant lion. Yes.
Or 30 cars that assemble into one giant robot. Yes. But the
30
5
cars?
Yeah, you didn't know there's an alternate?
No.
Yeah, there's 2 Voltrons. So
Okay.
there's Lion Voltron, which has 5 lions.
They fly and they assemble into one.
Into a robot, like a mega Zord type of thing. But then there was the other Voltron that was cars.
Oh.
There was actually like 17 of them or something. And they actually made a toy of this, and you got all 17 of the cars, and you could assemble it all together into the actual thing. And that was one of the best birthday gifts I ever got, because I actually had the thing, and you could put it all together. And the bottom 2 cars, they were all different cars. They were all different styles of cars or spaceships or whatever the fuck. Because they're in space and it made no sense for them to be cars.
Right.
But the feet that were the cars, the feet that were the cars that were the feet, actually had friction motors in them, and the thing would stand up and you could actually go and it would very poorly down the sidewalk. It was dope.
Yeah. Okay. And a friction motor, is that the kind that you have to like roll it forward? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Which
nice.
The only way to do that is like really fast with your hand, right? With the whole thing in your hand and just really hard. That's nearly impossible to do when you have a robot that is very haphazardly slid together with little plastic cookie thing.
The physics of that are incredible because
Yeah.
the little tiny wheels on top of a big, it's like it's gonna fall over every single time.
Oh no, it didn't. It was weighted. Like there was a lot of work done in some places, and then there was the intern guy. Like, it wouldn't have been much to put batteries in this thing.
Yeah.
Or just not do friction motors. But they did friction motors, and obviously nobody thought about this and how you make them work. To do it hard enough to like they get it to go anywhere, because the issue with those friction motors was that there's so much mass now that you have to have more energy, right?
Right.
I imagine it was some old dude who didn't know any better, and he's like, well, you can just do friction motors just like zip and it'll go bzzz. But if you do zip with the fucking robot, it just goes meh. You gotta give it some ass behind it. But if you do that, then all the shit on top falls the fuck off. And the head of the car Voltron was like a spaceship thing that was shaped like a triangle, and it had these little doors that like a cargo bay doors almost. But those would open and be the robot face.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Good times.
It so fucking clearly. Anyway, Thundercats were like, you had
okay, yeah. So we're back
lion
to
guy.
Right, because we went from Lawyer Cat to Thundercat to Voltron to Voltron.
Yeah.
Now we're back to Voltron. Now we're back to Thundercats.
Right. Thundercat, you had the lion guy, the panther guy. It was basically He-Man, but all the people.
Oh, right. Okay, now I got you.
And they would say,
Got it.
Thundercats, Thundercats, Thundercats. Ho! No, wait, that was Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
But
Gotcha.
they did do Thundercats Ho. It was really weird. And then there was one token girl cat, and then there was the weird little like gremlin dude. And then there was one bad guy. I feel like just like He-Man, there was the one bad guy with his side.
Skeletor was He-Man.
I know it wasn't
I don't-
Skeletor because he was bad guy, but the entire thing, it was like somebody. It was drawn like you could probably overlay the lion dude on top of He-Man and been like, oh, look how close they are. They're very similar. You probably
that's the crossover episode that needed to happen right there. Speaking of crossover episodes,
are we speaking of crossovers?
Well, that's what this is, right?
Oh, we're still doing a podcast, right? Forgot.
Well, I mean, maybe we are. I don't know. Maybe are we recording?
Dick.
Oh, please. Oh, he who is without sin shall cast the first stone, since I am the one who has recorded how many different wrong ways? I'm not sure how many different episodes have I done wrong way every single time.
Anyway,
okay.
Do you want to talk about Lawyer Cat for real again?
Oh yeah, we'll come back to Lawyer Cat, but first I wanted to comment about improv, and that is that we had a very pirate and robot moment here. Thank you, Will Hines and Billy Merritt. In that I followed the line. I was like, oh, I'm being an improv robot, and you were like fully engaged with the Thundercats, and I was like, oh, he's being a really good improv pirate. Oh, so Lawyer Cat. So here's the thing about Lawyer Cat. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you either have been asleep or have no internet connection, in which case you wouldn't be listening to a podcast. Google Lawyer Cat if you don't know what I'm talking about.
I just want to point out that as you say, Google Lawyer Cat, I Googled Lawyer Cat. It is currently the second suggestion in Google search bar after typing the word lawyer. The first is lawyer sob. The second suggestion in Google search bar is
Hold on, I'm gonna verify because Google, lawyer.
Right
nope,
there.
first hit for me.
Wow.
And then after that is lawyer near me. Oh, you know what? Is that if it already has a thing, does it mean I already searched it?
Maybe so. Yeah.
No. So I have Lawyer Cat, lawyers near me, lawyers Los Angeles, lawyers Glendale, because Google knows where I am. I'm not in Glendale, but near. So Lawyer Cat top hit.
Yeah. Anyway.
So if you
Yeah.
if you have the ability to download a podcast, you have the ability to know what Lawyer Cat is, and that there is a T-shirt, which is why we're talking about this, because you need to buy Jeff's fucking T-shirt.
My T-shirt is the Law Shark, sir.
Law Shark.
I can't
Right.
steal Lawyer Cat. I just
You're not
stole
stealing it.
I
You
just
are.
stole the format of it to build.
You're yes-anding it. You're yes-anding it.
I want to see that argument in a copyright claims or like a
Yeah, fair use.
IP. That's what I was thinking about. Intellectual property.
Fair use.
No. I yes-anded the shit out of that.
I yes-anded the fuck out of that. That is a fucking yes and right there. Don't you know people know improv? That's the fucking improv defense right there. Okay, so here's the thing about Lawyer Cat that you need to know. There's several levels. I mean, it's a short enough video. You need to watch it to catch all the different levels. The first level being
again and again.
again and again, which the day it came out is pretty much what I did. It was almost as disruptive as other news events have been to my workflow. Anyway,
especially like I can see, I don't, somehow it matters more because A, you're a lawyer, B, you spend a lot of time in these Zoom things, both for work and fun. So I can just imagine, like, for you, there's an extra special dose of holy fuck, I could have been that guy.
Oh yeah. Well, and my law firm is actually based in Atlanta, and the fact that they're like speaking with Southern accents is even funnier. And I did send it out to my entire firm. Yes, I did, because I'm that guy. I'm the guy who replies all to the email with a snarky comment every single time, because I'm the only one in California and they can't catch me. So they don't, usually if I send out a reply all email at 5 o'clock, it's like 8 o'clock. It's like happy hour where they are. They don't really, and everybody's loose. It's cool. So, so Lawyer Cat. The bottom right corner is the obvious humor, right? That's funny. That's a lawyer who's like, well, I'm not a cat. I'm not a cat. It's like the foghorn leghorn lawyer. Like, oh, I'm trying. I got my assistant in here. I don't know what happened in here to my camera. You have so that's one layer of hilarity. You have the judge who's like incredibly chill for a judge. Like I've had judges like get furious because lawyers calling in or like typing in the this shuffling papers. Like,
sir, are you not paying attention to this very important action on this court TV?
Exactly. Like, I'm gonna sanction you. So that judge is like chill. He's like, have you checked your camera input?
Turn off your avatar.
Yeah.
He's absolutely like, he's like he could be like a meditation guide, right? Like,
yeah.
Have you considered checking your inputs from the camera?
It's like Judge Zen.
I just want to get past this. I just want to pass judgment. Like, maybe he's saving all of it up for what he passes judgment. He comes out like,
like judges like to do
authority vested in me by the great state of Georgia and the county of Kennesaw, I hereby sanction you to death, sir. To death for this Lawyer Cat nonsense.
Yeah. They do like to, the judges, they do like to hand you a win before they hand you a loss. They're like, really nice, and then they rule against you. Not me. They never rule against me. I always win. I'm just fucking around. I don't always win, just most of the time. Okay. Oh my God. But the next layer, the funniest layer is the other lawyer on the call who's obviously arguing against Lawyer Cat. If Lawyer Cat is your adversary, you might be a little worried. But the dude, he's got the full, Colonel Sanders or Colonel Mustard, Colonel something. Like
definitely Colonel Sanders.
The fully white Van Dyke beard, and the dude is just poker face. Like this hilarity is going on. He's just like staring down, just waiting his turn to make his argument. And when the Lawyer says, I'm not a cat, just the way he looks up and just the teeniest, tiniest little smile. Like, it just like, I can't hold it back. I'm going to let just a little bit. It's just he just kind of looks up and it's just a little smile. It's like the button on the comic bit that makes it brilliant. But there's one more very extra special layer for the super attentive, super observant, super obsessive person who watches it more than 10 times. And that is the upper left corner. And this is the level of obsession that
Well, I mean, again, it comes back. Like, I think I read it, and obviously, I'll let you tell it, but I think there's this extra level because you are a lawyer. I think it really comes from the fact that you could have been that guy. Again,
I could have been there. Could have been me. In fact, I tried to download the filter and was hoping it would be me afterwards, which is the reason I think that's the reason I had to reinstall Windows. Anyway, I tried to put a virus on my computer so that I could be the lawyer cat. I always win my cases. All right. If you're a client and you're listening to this podcast, I just want you to know.
I'm sorry.
I don't do that. I don't. When it's your case, it's very serious. Okay, so
that is a hell of a sales pitch, man. I mean, if I ever need a lawyer,
yeah,
I'm absolutely going to Steve Gorman. Anyway, tell him the funny thing about that.
But it says that if you're recording this, you could be subject to $500 sanctions or 6 months imprisonment. So somebody was so intrepid that realized that this was going down, broke the law, risked a $500 fine, and recorded this shit. Now, here's what I want to know. Is it Colonel Sanders? Is it Zen Judge? Or is it Lawyer Cat himself? Or some courtroom staffer? But I just want to know, where is the goddamn GoFundMe so I can send them some money? That's right. What I want to know.
They deserve
know.
It right there.
Yeah.
Now, the shitty thing is, like, there's in my head, right, when I see these things that are, you could be subject to fines or imprisonment, and typically every one of these things that I've ever seen has a dollar figure and a time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they never, in my head, they never correlate. Like $500 fine or 6 months in jail.
Right.
I'm sorry. That 6 months in jail, for me, that's a hell of a lot more than $500.
No, it's like Monopoly, right? You lose 3 turns or you pay $50. Like, that seems like kind of like it's a push. Like
yeah, but
I mean,
it's awkward. It's just
the stakes are disproportionate. Like 6 months of incarceration seems a lot more severe than $500.
Right, which means it, to me, as I'm talking through this, that seems to be intentional. Like, obviously, we don't want to incarcerate you for 6 months. We just need $500 so that we can pay for the judge's computer.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a whole, like, to get serious, like there's a whole diatribe about cash bail, but I won't get into that and the injustice of that.
Well,
but
there's we don't do.
Wait, that's a different podcast.
That's a different podcast.
Okay.
God damn.
So let's talk more about
merch.
You need to buy some stuff so Jeff can buy more microphones so we can not turn them on.
I actually do need more microphones because I want to do the wireless thing so hard.
Oh my God.
So the third option we have for art is based loosely on a boxing poster from the days of old. Now, as I did some research for this, first, Attorney Steve the Law Shark Gorman is a character developed by Billy. So I asked Billy, what does fucking Steve Gorman look like? And he didn't answer. And because I was on the upswing of a manic fucking episode and creating like crazy, I was like, fuck, I want to do it myself. So I Googled George Foreman because I know there are photographs of George Foreman in a suit holding his fist up. And I found that picture and I kind of looked at it and I started to work with that a little bit because of the suit, right? When you do anything other than standing like a dweeb in a suit, it starts to move funny and the shoulders all poke up and shit. Weird, right?
Mhm.
Like, obviously, I wear a lot of suits.
Mhm.
Anyway, so I started drawing, and then Billy answers me, and he sends me this picture of a guy with boxing gloves in a fucking room with books. Not just any books, those special books, you know, the ones, they're all the same fucking color. They have all the same labels. They're like volume 1 through 472,655, and they're law books. And I was like, huh, that's weird.
And
So
they're
the-
really only for taking pictures.
Right. The only thing they're good for is a backdrop, because according to that documentary, Better Call Saul, they're fucking blank. Anyway.
They're for
So-
hiding money.
Yes, they're for hiding the money dollars.
Mhm.
So Billy sends me this picture, and I'm like, okay, cool. So that's what I'm going to go with as far as the face goes. And I started drawing this guy, and he comes out, I don't know, it's mediocre. It's the best I'm going to do, and I'm down with that. And I actually drew this thing.
You want him on your chest.
I don't actually. I
No,
don't.
no. The listeners do.
Oh yeah, you absolutely want this tattoo in the middle of your back, just like Roger Stone's tattoo of Dick fucking Nixon. Anyway,
Oh my God.
I will give somebody at least $1 if they actually got this tattoo on the middle of their back, exactly in the same manner as Roger Stone's Dick Nixon tattoo. Anyway, so I drew this dude, and I'm like, okay, I want to make this poster. And I look at all these posters, right? And I'm like, well, fuck, they have both guys. They have the title fight, like typically. If you have one picture, you have both pictures. Because my initial intent was going to be like Steve Gorman takes on all comers or something. And I realized it just wasn't going to cut it. So I went back into the archives of Steve Gorman advertisements, and I found the first one. Lucky, see, Billy's a fantastic collaborator in that he will share everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything he ever made for laying down the law. And so there's a lot of source material, but also there's a lot of fucking source material. And I'd actually listened to this one before, so I knew it was there, and I just needed to make sure of a couple words. And it was the Dockless Scooter fiasco. And I was like, all right, fine. So Attorney Steve's going to take on the Dockless Scooter Insurance Company. Now, as I typed those words first, and I'm looking at this guy that I drew, and it dawns on me, he looks kind of like Harry Ellis. I would ask Billy if he knows who the fuck Harry Ellis is, but apparently he didn't watch movies in the 80s and 90s. And even though it is mentioned every year at Christmas time, because it is the very best Christmas movie that has ever been produced, he's still never seen fucking Die Hard. He wouldn't know. So, listeners, I'm going to tell you that this guy who looks a little bit like Harry Ellis, the coked up fucking office addict in Die Hard, well, he is Steve Gorman is taking on the Dockless Scooter Insurance Company, which is represented by the building that stood in for the Nakatomi Tower in Die Hard, because that shit's funny to me. So there. That's what I wanted to tell you. All of this merch will be available on TeePublic at Verboten PM, I think is how you can search for it.
You want to give the inside skinny on the phone number? I think so the phone number, the 555, we got to keep for the
newer ones.
The newer ones, yes.
Yeah.
But the older one.
You're absolutely right. I think that no telephone yellow page book advertisement would have the area code in the 80s, 90s. You're
early
right.
80s.
Yeah. Hey, what do you mean early 80s, pal? That was like the middle of
Red Ink. When did Red Ink come to Florida phone books? When did Red Ink?
I feel like it would have been 1987.
Florida phone books. The internet is amazing.
I think it's 87, and I'm putting it after Top Gun, but before Days of Thunder.
Internet is not
amazing.
Not really filling me in on this one. Doesn't have every answer. But no area code. But the number,
yes,
602-1023.
Yeah. Just a phone number, just random digits I plucked right out of my butt.
Well, yeah, I was going to say maybe we need to try to get that number on Google Voice. or something.
I have I've had Google Voice since it was a beta.
Wow.
Yeah, I signed up like when Google search came out, I signed up. I wanted to be the guy, right? I wanted to be beta. And I finally was offered something to beta, and it was voice. So I've had I have like 8 of them now. Like Verboten's got a phone number. We had a phone number for Round and Round. I still have one, and you kind of have to be careful, like associating, because you have to associate it with a phone number. But once you have one, then
you dump the phone number.
Then but if you fuck up and don't log in, and then you don't really undo that Google Voice, then you're all fucked for your. Anyway, long story short, like I've got like 8 of them. They're all associated with like my phone, kids' phones, work phone, all kinds of random shit. But anyway, I don't think it would be available because everybody who's into science knows Avogadro's number. Now, why did I pick Avogadro's number? It'll only make sense if you listen to the Spanish language version of Steve Gorman's advertisements, because the word for lawyer in Spanish is abogado.
Wait, shouldn't this be like some premium behind the paywall content right here?
Maybe.
I'm just trying to make a buck here.
I think it will be premium laying on the law content, but free for use content.
No. The premium laying down the law content is the part that I don't have to pay people to listen to. That's the premium. That's the part that people will listen to for free.
Right. They will listen to it for free. Right. This is dumb. This is like 4 layers removed from the joke, right? Like it's only because I'm an idiot and can't say abogado. Like the first 87 times I tried to record the law shark, the Randy, the Macho Man Savage. Oh yeah, baby, he's the law shark, right? I couldn't say abogado because I was trying to do the El Tiburon del Corte. But I was also trying to say something else. Anyway,
un gran abogado or something like that.
I couldn't get it out. I was always saying Avogadro or not avocado, but advocato. I think that's a word too.
Avocado. Oh,
like advocate, but
avocado. Avocado.
Anyway, the whole thing, the whole reason this popped into my head is because I couldn't say avocado properly. I was saying avogadro, and I was like, that sounds like avogadro. That sounds like avocado. Then I went into this whole spiral, and I was like, wait a minute, he needs a phone number. He needs a phone number.
Yeah,
and there it is.
Yeah, I will say for the deep cut fans of Steve Gorman, they will know that the correct phone number for Steve Gorman is 1-800-STEVEGORMAN, which is funny to me because it's too many fucking letters.
Anyway, folks, that's the story of the merch.
Yeah,
somehow all of that is going to come out.
The sooner you buy it, the less we'll talk about it.
If anybody ever buys Gorman merchandise, I will cry. Laugh.
Oh, I'll buy it. I'm gonna buy a lot.
Besides
my entire family's got their Christmas coming.
I'll stop.
I think we have to talk about hold on. Next time we're going to talk about that Supreme Court case involving Oscar Wilde, but not this time.
Wait a minute. You had a law case for laying down the law?
Occasionally.
4 hours later.
I know, seriously. Jesus. Oh my God.
Anyway, Billy, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for coming.
This was fun.
You should say that again.
Jeff, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for coming on the show. Now, do you have a credits shtick that you do? Because I do. You don't have a shtick, like a thing you do every time, like a bada bada boom. Bada bing.
Wait, okay. If I were a guest, what would I say? You can find everything that I'm a part of at verbotenproductions.com. It's the easiest place. It's a one-stop shop. Everything I do for me and the $1.
That's right. The almighty dollar.
Yes, US $1.
Yes.
Worth almost 90 cents. Anyway, now, as always, listener friend peoples, I humbly beseech you find happiness, love who you love, be what you want to be, and wear a goddamn mask because it's not over yet.
Laying Down the Law is a product of Beyond Unreasonable Doubt and Verboten Productions, produced by Jeffrey Feightner. There he is. Artwork by The Mighty Q.
Music is Galactic Damages by
Jingle Punks, yes.
And you're a 12th grader.
I am, hold on, let me just think.